This film is about writing references, why it is important and how to do. When you are writing a thesis, it is essential to know where you have picked up your information, so that those who read your text will know where you have found your information. This is called referencing. The main rule is to always make references to all ideas, discoveries and opinions that are not your own, that is, to most everything. However, no rule without an exception. You need not to refer to things that are considered common knowledge in your subject area, and you do not have to make references to your own ideas, discoveries, thoughts or conclusions. Unless you have already published them elsewhere, then you need to cite them. Why is it important to reference? Well, you have to show that you master the art of academic writing, that you are able to argue with the help of previous research results, and that you can cite or refer in a correct way. You need to show academic honesty and integrity by recognizing the works of others. By doing so, you also avoid being accused of cheating and plagiarism. It must always be clear who is saying what in your text. There are many different paths when it comes to referencing systems. Practices vary according to what referencing system you are using. Oxford, Vancouver, APA, and Harvard are some well-known referencing systems. Oxford and Vancouver are characterized by referencing in the form of footnotes at the bottom of the page. Harvard and APA are characterized by the insertion of the author's last name and the publication year within parentheses in the running text. Harvard is the most commonly used referencing system at the SLU education programs. There are several variations of Harvard, and I will now show examples of how to cite using the SLU Harvard practice. If you feel uncertain of what is applicable at your own department, you will do best to ask your teacher or advisor. The reference consists of two parts. The reference in the running text, that is, the author's last name and the publication year within parentheses, and the complete reference with all the details in the reference list at the end of the text. Here are some examples of how to refer to sources in a text. Quotations need to be rendered word for word as they appear in the original text, and the citations should include the page number in the work cited. Shorter quotations are inserted in the running text within quotation marks. With the longer quotes, also called block quotations, you do not use quotation marks. Instead, use smaller fonts and both left and right indentation, and insert a blank line before and after the quote, and add a reference. You can either use active or passive references in the running text. In an active reference, the name of the author is incorporated into the running text, whereas in the passive reference, the author is cited within parentheses. I will give some examples of how you can refer to your sources in the running text. This is an active reference. The writer has included a page number even though it is not a quotation. It can be helpful for both you and others to include page number, since it will be easier to retrieve the part you are referring to. If you choose to do so as well, please remember to be consistent. When there are 2 or 3 authors, all the names are included in the reference in the running text, with an ampersand between the last and the second to last name. If the source you refer to has more than 3 authors, you use the first author's name followed by et al. This is what it looks like in an active reference. In the reference list, all authors must be included. If an author has published more than one publication in the same year, you can differentiate them in the running text using A, B, C after the year. You find more examples at the SLU University Library website. So, what about the reference list? The reference list is located at the end of your work with the references in alphabetical order. The list should contain all the sources you have referred to in your text and no others. And every reference should contain enough information for the reader to be able to retrieve the source you have used without any problem. What kind of information that needs to be included in the complete reference depends on the type of source at hand. You find more information on referencing at the SLU University Library website. Good luck!